What if, what if Izuku, Yagi, yes, this is a Yagi what if. Yes, and if you read Wattpad stories, you know what this is. What if Izuku, Yagi, or Midoriya was Muzan Kibutsuji? As Izuku got in an argument with his parents, as this was an argument about his sister, as his sister falsely accused of him bullying her and beating him up. And Izuku was enraged because of this. He was enraged because of his lies, as they believed her over him because he was quirkless. They neglected him all of their life because he was quirkless. As Izuku was done arguing with them, as he waited for a few hours, as he left the house at midnight. As Izuku packed his stuff and ran away. Like, from the house permanently. Like, good. But Izuku, even before running away, he used to train because he wanted to become a hero even without a quirk, to prove to this world that you don't need a quirk to become a hero. Because a quirk is just a tool. You don't need that quirk. You don't need a quirk to become a hero. As Izuku ran for 6 hours straight. As he was at an abandoned city. Then something caught his eye as he heard battle noises. As he saw there was a creature, tall creature with white long hair and pink eyes with slits that looked like a snake's eyes. As there was 12 people, they looked like samurais. There was 12 people fighting him with swords as they were using techniques. As all Izuku heard was sun breathing. Then they heard wind breathing, water breathing, and stone breathing, and etc. As Tanjiro was about then used his 13th form on Muzan, as Muzan was heavily weakened. Because Muzan was already taking all 4 drugs, the cell destruction drug, the slowness drug, the aging drug, aging 50 years every minute. So this was not a good time for him, and it was sunbreathing. Even if it wasn't as strong as Yorichi's, but with Tamayo's drugs, it nerfed him to such a degree that even this inferior sunbreathing is gonna still affect him. As Muzan was fighting the Demon Slayers, then the sun started to rise, as Muzan's eyes were visibly shaking in fear. As Muzan tried running to the shade, as the Demon Slayers tried stopping him. Izuku was in the shade watching this. As the Demon Slayers tried to attack Muzan, but it was futile, as Muzan used his whips, as he slashed both of them back, stalling. As Muzan went up to Izuku, he didn't know who this boy was, but he wanted a new host. Cause this old body, it's already drugged, it's already nerfed. Like, this old body is already weakened because of Tamayo's drugs. If he gets a new body, all of Tamayo's drugs won't be affected anymore. Like, it won't affect the new body. And he'll survive the sunlight because the boy is in the shade. So Muzan tramples over Izuku as he went up to him on top of him. As he said, because of you, I'll be able to live and make more demons. Because of you, the demon era will not be destroyed. So you should be proud to be my sacrifice, to be my vessel. As Muzan started to pour all of his blood inside of Izuku, as Izuku was screaming. As the Demon Slayers were on the ground, as they were violently hurt, as they were almost close to death. Even Tanjiro himself, he lost an arm. As they couldn't move, they were paralyzed because how bad the damage was. And Yushiro, he couldn't do anything because he was a demon. He was in the shade. He couldn't go out in the sun. As Muzan poured all of his blood into Izuku. As Izuku somehow survived because of the Yorichi cells inside of him. Yes, Izuku has Yorichi's cells inside of him. The reason why is because flashback or backstory or whatever. When Yorichi, back then when Yorichi was living with his wife, he got her pregnant, but a demon then killed her, causing him to become a demon slayer. But turned out, when he killed the wife, he didn't kill the baby because he didn't slash her stomach. He only slashed her in the head as the baby. The baby was then founded by someone else. It was just a random traveler, a wandering traveler. As he saw, the baby was just lying there in blood as he felt bad. As he took the baby in as his own child. And this child, or Yorichi's biological child, turns out to be Izuku's great-great-grandfather. Yes, he turns out to be Izuku's great-great-grandfather. Yeah, that's why Izuku was able to survive Muzan's cells, because Yorichi's cells were making him survive because they're superior. As Izuku became a demon, as his instincts were out of control, as he wanted to eat human flesh but the sun was out, as there was just something in his mind telling him to don't go out the shade, even if you have to stay here through all nighttime. Izuku, he was naive. He didn't know what his demon abilities can do. He didn't even know that he was a demon. When Muzan turned him into a demon, Muzan stabbed him in the arm and poured his blood inside of him. Izuku didn't know what was going on. All he was doing was screaming. As the body of Muzan fell off of Izuku, as Muzan's consciousness went inside of Izuku. As Muzan in Izuku's consciousness said, "Yes, my plan worked. And now since my plan has worked, I have survived. And now, the memory transfer process shall start." Muzan was gonna implant his memories in Izuku. As Izuku had his thirst for blood, he tried to walk in the sun. As Muzan was telling him in his mind, "Don't walk in the sun, no!" As Izuku's hand was out in the sun, as he was burning. Then he still walked out even after he was burning, him being naive. Then the burning stopped. Suddenly all the burning on his body started to regenerate. As Muzan was like, "What is this? How?" He's not complaining, but he's like, how did he regenerate? How did he conquer the sun? How? Could he be related to Nezuko Kamado? No. Then Muzan looked into his body, because since he's the consciousness inside of Izuku's body, he looked inside of his body, like his blood flow, his cells and all that stuff. Don't ask me why, but Muzan saw that it was the same bloodline as Yorichi, because it had the sun breathing thing. This is the descendant of Tsukikuni Yorichi. As Muzan had a wicked smile, as Muzan said, "If I can make him my disciple, I can get payback on Yorichi for all those years ago of PTSD, 400 years ago." As Muzan wickedly smiled. Muzan said that Muzan needed this boy to be in his prime, like as strong as Muzan. This boy wasn't as strong yet, so he had to eat humans. As the Hashira soon started to get up, they saw Izuku, but they didn't know who he was. Then they saw his eyes. Then Giyu screamed out, "Muzan has transferred himself, his consciousness into a new body, and this body can walk in the sun. Kill it before we all die." As Giyu shouted out, as all the demon slayers got up, as Izuku didn't know how to use his abilities, as Izuku was on a rampage, as he accidentally got all of his bony whips out, as he slashed all the Hashiras, leaving them badly damaged. Then Izuku crawled down on the ground as he opened his mouth, as an energy ball came out as he shot it, and it killed and slaughtered all of the Hashiras. And after that, Izuku went and ate all of their corpses. He ate all of their corpses because he was thirsty for blood. And this will be the end of this what if Izuku was Muzan Kibutsuji, because I ran out of ideas. So yeah.